Another day, another provocative comment from none other than Red Bull Racing's Dr. Helmut Marko. Now, he's had his word on Lando Norris and his talents for and chances for the 2025 World Championship title. He's actually ranked Norris's chances higher than four-time defending world champion Max Verstappen, who does, of course, race for Red Bull. And now he is stirring the pot in Ferrari, where he said that Charles Leclerc is clearly faster than Sir Lewis Hamilton in 2025. Pinches of salt at the ready, guys. Prepared to take these comments with them. Let's have a look at the full article here on the F1Chronicle.com. As always, all the hype surrounding Lewis Hamilton's move to Ferrari is unlikely to translate into a world championship. That is the view of Red Bull advisor Dr. Helmut Marko, who thinks McLaren is the clear favourite heading into Melbourne with Red Bull on their heels. Ferrari is, according to our calculations, the third strongest force, just ahead of Mercedes, the Austrians told RTL. And in Bahrain, Charles Leclerc was clearly faster than Hamilton, but that's normal, Marko explained. He, Leclerc, knows the team, he knows the car. Hamilton drove a lot of laps and gradually improved, but he wasn't quite at Charles Leclerc's level. However, it is early days. We know that Hamilton can improve supernaturally, but it could also be the case that if the factors don't line up and he sees no chance of winning, his motivation will drop a little. Kind of disagree with that, but I'll go into more about that at the end of the video. Ferrari team boss Fred Vasseur admitted that at the Milan Street event on Thursday that the new 2025 car is 2 or 3 tenths off McLaren's ultimate pace. They're in a better position than us, he said. This is the last year of the current regulations and performance gains are becoming increasingly difficult to achieve. It's true that we scored the most points in the last 8 races of 2024, but they, McLaren, had a real performance advantage that they didn't exploit as much as they should have due to small problems or missed opportunities. But if we gain 2 or 3 attempts, we'll have every chance. Ralf Schumacher, meanwhile, thinks the comparisons between his older brother's arrival at Ferrari in 1996 to Hamilton's first season in red are wide of the mark. When Michael went to Ferrari, he was not only the current world champion, but also the acknowledged best driver. Neither of these things applies to Lewis anymore, Ralf told Sky Deutschland. Nevertheless, Michael still needed 5 years of hard work to win his first Ferrari title. Lewis doesn't have that time. Schumacher also thinks the fickle Italian press will only give Hamilton 6 months to get up to speed. If things aren't going well by then, all this euphoria will quickly turn into criticism, said the German. As for Leclerc, Vasseur sees no risk that the pressure will also weigh particularly heavy on the 27-year-old's shoulders this year. From day one, I was convinced that Charles would only benefit from Lewis's arrival, said the Frenchman. Maybe it will take some pressure off him and he will be able to focus more on himself. Schumacher, meanwhile, agrees with those who think McLaren could be about to knock Red Bull and Max Verstappen off their perches in 2025. Well, they already did knock Red Bull off their perch in 2024. They won the Constructors' Championship, of course. But yeah, the Drivers' Championship remains elusive. Pierre is no Adrian Newey, he said. I mean, yeah, you can say that again. Max will have to get used to the idea that everything ends someday. I don't think he has a chance this season, no. Oh. Maybe it will help him decide what to do next, but either way, it will be a difficult decision. I feel like that is the headline, isn't it? Schumacher saying that Verstappen has no chance in 2025. Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of differences between Michael Schumacher arriving at Ferrari in 96 and Hamilton arriving in 2025. Now, I agree with Ralph that Hamilton doesn't have 5 years to make a turnaround, and not just from the fact that he would be 45 years old by that point, not so much that, but more from the side that Ferrari won't give him that much time, you know. I mean, I don't think this is going to happen, but let's just say he is, you know, he has a slow 3 seasons at Ferrari, a slow 2 seasons at Ferrari. His contract is not being renewed. Simple as that. With how much he's costing the team, they wouldn't do that. They'd bring somebody else in. But I don't see that happening personally. I think he's going to do a really good job. Now, there are some differences between I agree with what Schumacher's saying. There are some differences between Michael and Lewis in terms of the Ferrari team they are going to. However, I don't agree that Ralph is kind of explaining it correctly there. When Schumacher went to Ferrari in 1996, that car was an absolute dog. It was an awful car. The 96 Ferrari car was hideous for a start. It had the massive what they call them, the side bits on the where the driver's head is. I can't remember the name. Basically, the sides of the car were very high, and it looks ugly. It was horrible. And Michael still managed to get some wins. In fairness, I mean, that win in Spain in '96 was absolutely mesmeric. One of the greatest wins in Formula One history. I'm not even going to say in my opinion. It was. It absolutely was. The Regenmeister absolutely making his name there, if he didn't already have it, of course. Now, yes, I think at that time Schumacher was very much acknowledged as being the best driver on the grid, and it's debatable with Hamilton. You know, you could definitely say he's one of, you know, but you wouldn't say that he is the clear best. I think right now the clear best is Max Verstappen, and I don't think anybody's going to deny that. And I think if you do deny that, to be honest, I think you're in denial, to be honest. I mean, as much as I love Lewis and Piastri and Lando and drivers like that, Max Verstappen's on another level. It really, really is. However, the difference is that Ferrari right now are in a good space. I mean, people are saying they're third, fourth best, and I think that's probably the case, to be honest. But Ferrari in '96 were probably third best, actually. But the gap between them and Williams was massive. It wasn't 0.3 of a second or whatever, you know, what's been talking about, half a second. It was like 1.5 seconds. The Williams was the absolute class of the field in '96, and to an extent in '97 as well. So it is different. It is very different. And I don't think it's fair to really compare them, to be honest. It's a very different situation that Ferrari finds itself in now than 29 years ago, and a very different situation that Michael and Lewis find themselves in terms of their career. Hamilton's won his 7 championships already. Michael won the last 2 in '94 and '95 before going to Ferrari, but he was not a defined GOAT by that point. You know, everybody thought he could have been, you know, and he did. He did do that. He rewrote every single record in the book, but he wasn't a greatest of all time by that point. Hamilton is. Hamilton absolutely is. He's top of most of the metrics that you, in terms of totals that you want to succeed as a Formula One driver. You know, joint top in championship, most podiums, most wins, most poles, probably most fastest laps, or at least up there anyway in terms of fastest laps. So that's my kind of thoughts on it, guys. What's yours? Does Max Verstappen have no chance of winning the title in 2025? Will Hamilton, is it fair to say that he is slower than Charles Leclerc? I don't know, man. I don't know. I'm not sure about that, but let's see what happens in Melbourne. Let's see what happens in Melbourne. It's going to be interesting for sure. I do get some of the thinking behind it, but I'm not so sure I agree with it. Like, share, comment, subscribe as always to see much more content like this on the world of Formula One. Have a great weekend, guys. And of course, it's race week. It's Raw Keek. See you very soon for some more Formula One content here on the F1Chronicle.com.